No signal, no flag, no explanation. Just a shadowy, unidentified vessel drifting silently toward the USS Gerald R. Ford, the largest, most advanced war machine the United States has ever built. No sound, no response. Yet every passing second cut deeper into the instincts of the sailors on deck like a blade to the nerve. If, in the previous video, we saw how Ukraine shocked the world by successfully striking Russia's most heavily guarded airbase, Engels too erupting in flames in the dead of night, then in the waters of the Middle East, an unidentified vessel approaching America's most powerful aircraft carrier set the stage for a very different kind of scenario. They felt something was off. Very off. Something wasn't right happening right in front of them. It wasn't the sound of gunfire, but a deadly silence. A wordless warning, cold and sharp as steel. In the middle of the most dangerous waters on the planet where a single mistake could ignite a Warth, strange vessel kept drifting, silent, unidentified, defying every rule of maritime conduct. Meanwhile, the USS Gerald R. Ford was no ordinary ship. It's the ultimate symbol of American military power, carrying technology capable of shifting the course of a war in just minutes. But that's exactly what made the situation even more terrifying. Because when a rusty silhouette can pose a threat to a superpower, every second of waiting carries the breath of death. It didn't sail straight, no signals, no attempt to flee. Instead, the strange vessel moved in a zigzag pattern at times eerily slow, then suddenly accelerating, as if it were probing something. Aboard the USS Gerald R. Ford, every tracking system was running non-stop, scanning each unusual movement with pinpoint accuracy. This was no maritime accident. This was a nerve test. Someone out there was measuring America's reaction wave by wave, second by second, and everyone on that ship knew one wrong move could cost everything. No alarms, no explosions, but aboard the USS Gerald R. Ford, the entire combat system came to life, layer by layer, like a giant war machine awakening. The MH-60R Seahawk roared to life, ready for launch, shattering the silence like a blade slicing through the night. Every move was timed to the second. Every decision carried the weight of 5,000 lives. In the command center, no one said a word, but everyone understood. The silence of that strange vessel was a psychological question, and America was preparing to answer it with overwhelming force. The Seahawk helicopter skimmed low across the water, its rotor blades slicing through the air like a final warning. As it closed in, the image sharpened through the scope. A man standing on the deck, holding a long metallic object glinting in the sunlight. Not a fishing rod, but possibly a launch tube or a targeting antenna. What was under the tarp? No one knew. But the silence felt like a ticking clock. Each heartbeat pounded against their chests. No shots were fired yet every muscle was tense, bracing for the worst. Two RHIBs tore across the calm sea like arrows, carrying the VBSS team warriors trained to face the unknown. Within seconds, they closed in and boarded the strange vessel like a controlled storm. There was no resistance. But beneath the tarp lay a chilling truth. A strange metal tube, wires, a satellite phone, and carefully sealed Iranian currency. No nets, no bait. This wasn't a fishing boat, it was a floating surveillance station. And all that haunting silence before? It had been calculated, down to the very second. As the equipment was transferred back to the carrier, each detail began to reveal the true nature of the ghost ship. Beneath its rusted shell was a meticulously planned operation, handwritten logs showing coordinates that matched the exact times U.S. aircraft had launched, simplified diagrams of carrier strike group formations, and a shortwave transmitter sending out encrypted signals in timed bursts. This wasn't random drifting. This was a high-tech chess, moved silent, precise, and chillingly calculated. And every second that had passed before, it was all part of the script. The strange vessel wasn't acting alone. Over the past few years, a series of similar boats have appeared near Oman, the Strait of Hormuz, and across Middle Eastern waters nameless, signalless, unarmed, yet carrying UAV components, encrypted radios, and carefully preserved cache, like living evidence of something much bigger. They didn't attack, they just approached, then silently observed. Each time was a test, a psychological game of nerves. And every second the US reacted, every radar sweep, every Seahawk rotor spinning into the sky was recorded. Not to strike today, but to strike with precision tomorrow. No shots needed, no warships required. Just a small drifting boat was enough to jolt the world's most advanced combat system into full alert, second by second. This wasn't warfare by weapons, it was warfare by signals, by program silence. If the US reacts too fast, it exposes its playbook. If it reacts too slow, lives could be lost in an instant. In this era, the first strike doesn't come from a missile, but from something seemingly harmless. And whoever sees it first, even by just 1 second, will be the one to survive the deadly chess game of the 21st century. The USS Gerald R. Ford never sails alone. Surrounding it is a fully integrated kill. Web Aegis destroyers, nuclear submarines, surveillance aircraft, all operating like a living organism, synchronized down to the second. When a rusted boat can get that close, every layer of defense activates like a survival reflex. No one says it out loud, but everyone feels it. One small lapse, 1 second of lost focus, and the entire system could be broken right at its strongest point. This is no longer the kind of war we used to know. No declarations, no clear front lines, just feints and psychological tests disguised as peace. A silent boat drifting into a restricted zone forces the entire US military machine to reveal its playbook, second by second. That's gray zone warfare, where the enemy doesn't shoot, but still attacks. And if the US picks the wrong moment to respond, the cost isn't just stolen information, it's the erosion of trust in the system, worn down with every radar sweep, every rotor blade spinning into the sky. The encounter with the strange vessel exposed a cold truth. The enemy doesn't need to attack, they just need to make us react. In this new world, where war is programmed through data and time is measured in radar pulses, every delayed second can open a dangerous gap. Power no longer lies in firepower, but in the ability to recognize the trap before stepping into it. And in that silence, one question echoes like a warning bell. Are we still controlling the game, Yor? Are we just being watched, step by step? It wasn't the small boat that concerned the U.S.IT was the sophisticated strategy behind it. With just one drifting vessel, the adversary forced the most powerful strike group in the world to reveal its response protocols, burn fuel, activate systems, and deploy assets. This wasn't traditional warfare, it was a perfectly executed probe. With every passing second, America was being seen from the incident not by satellite, but through a living decoy. And if we don't detect it early, we won't win the next battle, because the enemy will have already learned everything we failed to notice. A rusted, silent boat drifting into a restricted zone triggered the full force of America's advanced war machine, from radar systems and helicopters to special operations teams. Not a single shot was fired, yet every passing second carried the breath of war. Within that silence was a precisely programmed probe, forcing the USS Gerald R. Ford to reveal its strengths, its responses, and its strategy. The real danger wasn't in the weapons, but in how the enemy used silence to break the rhythm of defense. And if America doesn't spot the trap in time, every second that follows could be too late. In the end, the boat was seized, but the silence it carried never truly ended. Because the real danger isn't what already happened, it's what's still being prepared in the shadows. A rusted vessel can be captured, but the script behind it, the calculated surveillance, the psychological probing, the weaponized art of silences being refined, sharpened, and upgraded. And make no mistake, there will be a second, a third, a 10th, drifting into nameless waters without signal or flag, carrying data, orders, and strategy from forces that never show their face. A silent war is already underway, not fought with bombs and bullets, but with radar, radio frequencies, reaction delays, and calculated confusion. The enemy doesn't need to strike to gain the upper hand, they only need to make America react. Every time a combat system powers up, every time an armed aircraft takes off, every time special forces are deployed over a shadowy silhouette, it's another data point added to a much larger game. The more advanced the technology, the more subtle the collapse. And if the world's most powerful warships can be forced to reveal their playbook by a single rusted boat carrying no weapons, then one thing is certain. The next war won't begin with an explosion, it will begin with silence. And next time, it might not stop at just a warning. If you enjoyed this video, drop a comment with the number 1. If not, comment with the number 2 and let us know why. They don't wage war with missiles, but with silencia silence calculated down to the last nautical mile, to every pulse of the radar. In today's strategic landscape, brute force is no longer the only weapon. What determines victory now is sharp judgment, precise timing, and the ability to recognize a trap hidden beneath the fog of diplomacy. So the real question isn't whether the United States has enough firepower, it's whether we should keep responding to every provocation with force, or if it's time for a smarter, more flexible, yet equally powerful strategy. Not every boat is worth pointing a gun at. But on the flip side, ignoring dangerous moves could cost the United States dearly. To win the battles of tomorrow, America can't just react, they have to get ahead, to see the game before they're drawn into it. And that's exactly the mission of Navy Secrets, to bring you sharp, up-to-date analysis from top experts in military strategy and global geopolitics.